What's going on? What's going on? It's Kilo, and we are back for another episode of the regular podcast on the regular network.
It's real.
So what's his name again? Kilo?
Shout out my Kilo, man. Kilo in the mother building.
Yes, baby, educate me.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? It's Valentine's Day weekend, and right now, while I'm recording, this is actually Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to the people that celebrate it, to the people that have somebody to celebrate with, for the people that are celebrating it by themselves, for the people that are not celebrating it. Happy Saturday to y'all. Happy weekend to y'all. Happy blessing day. Every day you wake up is a blessing. How y'all feeling, man? Please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you comment your thoughts below. Make sure you share the video. You know what I mean? If you see something in here that you think sounds good or interesting, or even if you disagree with it, take a little screen record it, add it to your socials, let everybody know how stupid you think I am. I don't mind. Let me throw some lip balm on right quick. Little Burt's Bees. Y'all use Burt's Bees? How y'all doing, man? Y'all sad out there? Y'all sad out there for Valentine's Day, or y'all happy? How y'all feeling? Do you care at all? Or do you not care at all? You know, I'm on the don't care side. You know, I'm not the biggest on a lot of holidays, but you know, I don't get in the way of Valentine's Day though. You know what I mean? I don't get in the way of it. I threw this on this Black History Month, so I threw Denim Tears on. You know, that's Black owned. I decided to go with the one because it seems like everybody thinks the only Denim Tears that exists is the one with the cotton all over it. So everybody, you want to just be recognizable from down the street, like, oh, that's Denim Tears right there. You got the cotton all over, you look like everybody else. But they do have other styles of garments, okay? So, it's very fly still, to me, I think. I think these ones look better than the cotton ones, right? So, it's Black-owned company. Make sure y'all support that. And support more than just the ones that stand out from down the street, okay? Now, last week was the Super Bowl, and I didn't get to talk to y'all since then. The Super Bowl was what it was, you know, the Seahawks won that thing. But the more controversial thing that happened during the Super Bowl was the halftime show, of course, right? So Bad Bunny, as people call him Benito, Bad Bunny performed at the Super Bowl halftime show. He did it completely in Spanish. And that had a lot of people on social media either in an uproar of negativity or an uproar of celebration. Okay. How did y'all feel about it? I thought the performance was cool. It's not my cup of tea because I just don't know his music. It has nothing to do with him speaking Spanish or not speaking Spanish. I just don't know his music. I don't listen to Bad Bunny. So it wasn't for me, but I did watch it. And I thought the theater of it all, the drama of it all was pretty cool. It was actors everywhere. You know, it was less, to me, it seemed, I guess for people that are fans of his music, it's about the music. But it did seem like it was a little bit less about the music and more about the story he was trying to tell with the acting. But I think it would have helped me understand a little bit more if I did know what he was saying. But again, I don't listen to his music anyway, so it wasn't for me. It was for a different crowd. Now, what was going, and I'm not mad at it though either. Like, it's not the worst show I've seen. It's not the best show I've seen. It's just, it was cool. Now, I think it's interesting that people feel like they had to give such strong opinions and argue about this halftime show, because I'm like, it's just a standard show where there's a person performing that you don't listen to, or you do listen to, right? When they did Maroon 5, I don't listen to Maroon 5, and I didn't have strong opinions about that either because I just don't care. I don't listen to them, right? When they did Katy Perry, I knew a couple songs, and then most of it I didn't know. Didn't care. When it's Kendrick, I'm fully tapped in because I know all his music. When it's Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and all them, I'm fully tapped in. I know all of that music. When it's Beyonce, I'm fully tapped in. I know all that music. When it's freaking whoever, if it's Linkin Park or something like that, what can I do for you? You know what I'm saying? So Bad Bunny performing to me is the same as Maroon 5 performing. I don't know any of the music. The Spanish part mattered. It didn't matter at all. Now, the funny part about the whole thing was the Republicans or the right wingers or the MAGA people decided that they wanted to do their own halftime show at the same time as the NFL's halftime show, right? I think they call it the All American Halftime Show, right? And it was like a YouTube stream, and it was supposedly live YouTube stream. These different right wing performers coming together in some random place and performing during the same time. They wanted to take viewers away from the NFL halftime show to make their point, right? Now, what I will say is they did have a lot of people that watched that stream, right? And it was put together by Turning Point USA. I think Logan or Jake Paul, one of them put the money up, helped get the performers and all that. But it was a Turning Point USA event, right? Turning Point is the organization that Charlie Kirk ran. Now his wife is running it, right? So Turning Point put together this event. It's supposed to be a live stream on YouTube. They definitely had over 1 million people watching live, which is a lot of people. But excuse me, in comparison to the NFL, that's like nobody. Now, I will say when people see when like the ratings numbers and stuff like that come out, right? The Super Bowl halftime show had a ratings number that come out around 128 million for Bad Bunny, right? But you got to understand that doesn't mean there's actually 128 million people watching. Those ratings are like projections. They pretty much take a sample size and then project across the whole U.S. But it's not the actual viewership, okay? You can get better viewership data nowadays because everything is digital, but they don't have it. The people that do the reporting, they don't have access to that. By the way, anyway, the people that do the reporting, they don't have access to every one of these cable networks' back-end data, okay? And those companies are not obligated to report anything to Nielsen, okay? So they're doing pretty much surveying the sample size and then projecting it across the whole United States. It doesn't mean that exact amount of people actually watched it. So Kendrick Lamar still has the highest watched halftime show ever at 133.5 million viewers. Michael Jackson's number 2, like 133.4 million, whatever it is, right? Bad Bunny is somewhere in the top 5, 128 million. So it's an amazing show, but maybe that million people who turned from the NFL to watch the Turning Point USA halftime show, if just that million people had stayed watching the NFL, that could have changed the ratings, the way they do ratings drastically, right? Because of how they do ratings, right? Now, so people say that the Turning Point USA thing was horrible. Like they said terrible performances and it just looked weak as hell, right? Now, some inside information came out from Candace Owens. And this is the thing about Candace Owens that's funny to me. Candace Owens has had a mole inside of Turning Point USA, I guess the whole time. She was very close friends with Charlie Kirk, right? But she had a mole inside of Turning Point because ever since Charlie Kirk has passed away, Candace Owens has been exposing Turning Point secrets this whole time. And Charlie Kirk's former wife, widow, whatever. Candace has been exposing stuff that they got going on. So she exposed the fact that this event they did during halftime show actually was not live, and they shot it a couple weeks before the Super Bowl in Fayetteville, Georgia, right? That's first of all. Second of all, she said that the audience was only like 180 people total, but they used camera tricks to make it seem like it was like a packed arena, right? So she said it was only about 180 people total, and these people were not true audience members. They were paid actors. She even said they were paid $250 and the shooting of this event took 2 days, right? So they got paid pretty much $125 per day, 2 12-hour days to record this thing. It was only 180 of them. They recorded this event and then they put it on YouTube, pretty much did a premiere and made it look live. Or maybe they did an actual live stream, but they were live streaming a video that was already done. And they weren't live streaming live reality, right? So now the fact that Turning Point still has not found out who Candace Owens is, who her mole is inside of their organization, is baffling to me, right? How can y'all not tell like who the person is that's giving her information, unless she is just so plugged in with that many people on the inside? Candace Owens has exposed text messages, emails, screenshots. She has put so much stuff out about the inside of their organization. Now another thing coming out to show that these people actually didn't do what they said they were going to do. Now, to me, I don't see a big deal with a pre-recorded show, but the fact that y'all had to lie about the fact that y'all pre-recorded it is where it really don't make any sense. right? Another thing that she exposed is the fact that the performance wasn't smooth at all. She said most of the performers had to do their songs multiple times, sometimes up to 5 takes. It took them 5 takes. So the audience had to fake act hype 5 times for each performer. They said only one performer only did 2 takes. Not a single one of them did it in 1 take, right? So just one, the best performer, I don't know who the person was, but she said just one performer took 2 takes. Everybody else took 4 or 5 takes. And the audience had to recreate their energy every single time. I'm like, that sounds like torture. And then she said she found out that the audience was confused as to what was going on because they thought there would be better performers there because they themselves are actually Bad Bunny fans. So they were looking for superstar artists that would match the star power of a Bad Bunny, and they didn't get that. They got pretty much Kid Rock and a bunch of other little MAGA people, right? Which is a horrible trade-off. But fortunately for them, they still got to see Bad Bunny perform because this thing was shot a couple weeks ago in Fayetteville, Georgia. So I would say is highly comical that Turning Point USA will put this event together and pretty much lie about the production of it when they really didn't need to, because there was no standard for this. You could set the standard by saying we're gonna do a pre-recorded show and put it out during the halftime show so that y'all can watch it. There was no standard for competing with the halftime show on this level in this way with music and performers like this, right? So you really didn't need to lie. It was not like you were trying to live up to something that was already established, right? So shout out to them for being foolish. You understand? Just doing stuff just because I guess because the Paul brothers getting so much money with the scripted fighting and stuff like that, they have money to blow right now, so they don't really care, right? Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I think it's interesting. I think it was kind of idiotic, but whatever. I do think they got a lot of viewers though. 1 million live viewers is nothing to sneeze at, nothing to scoff at, right? Now, in other news that's coming out of the people that support Trump, right? Now, this is, to me, this would be like a bipartisan thing. Everybody needs to be paying attention to it. This has nothing to do with who you're a fan of. It has nothing to do with who you voted for. This is something that everybody should be looking to benefit from that is coming out of the Trump administration right now. Okay, let's read them and weep. This is called the Trump's. All right, so these things are called Trump accounts, right? Let's learn about Trump accounts, okay? Let's learn about Trump accounts. I gotta fix some things. All right, let's read about Trump accounts. Trump accounts jumpstart the American dream. We're building long-term financial security for millions of children by creating tax-advantaged investment accounts for U.S. citizens under the age of 18. Fill out your Form 4547 below to make the election for the 2026 tax year. I just realized that they called the Form 4547 because that's Trump's presidency. He was the 45th and 40th. Okay. All right. So essentially, these are investment accounts, government-backed government-sponsored investment accounts for children ages 0 to 18. Let's read about it. Get $1,000 for every American child born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. I don't have any kids during that time, and I won't have any kids, but the people who have babies between that time period, pretty much the beginning of last year, all the way up to the end of 2028, the government will give you $1,000 in that account for your baby. This account is fully in your child's name, and you are the sole custodian until they turn 18. No contributions necessary, but you can deposit up to $5,000 per year to maximize growth. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's keep reading. It launches July 5th, 2026. Enroll your child by making an election on the new IRS Form 4547. A financial institution will receive your funds and activate your account. Sit back and watch the money grow. Contribute anytime or not. Big things start with small steps, okay? Jumpstart their financial future. Build your child's financial foundation right from the beginning. With $1,000 from the U.S. Treasury, your child has a huge head start on the American dream. The power of time in the market. The account balance will grow over time on its own, whether you choose to contribute additionally or not. You may contribute up to $5,000 per year to accelerate gains. Proven winners, all American growth. Your child's funds will automatically be invested in American companies. The app lets you see exactly what stocks they own and how they're performing. Growing their finances and their education. As they grow older, they'll learn about investing and watch their money compound in real time. They'll gain more than just money. They'll gain financial literacy. You see, they got the Chevy key right there. So they definitely pumping this American literacy. Okay, at 18, the Trump account is all theirs. They're free to continue letting it grow, or they can withdraw funds right away to use for things like education or a home, with all the tax advantages of a traditional IRA. Your child's account grows with them, contributing to this. Okay, so now this is what this little graphic here, right? This is pretty much showing. All right, let's say if the child is born and you put $1,000 in their account and you never put another dollar in it. By the time they're 27, it will have, this is estimate, but it's estimate based on good data. It will have $15,000 by the time they are 27 years old, right? If you contribute, so if you start with $1,000 when they're born and you contribute $250 a year, it will have $51,000 when they're 27. If you contribute $1,000 when they're born and you contribute $5,000 a year until they're 27, till they're 27, it'll have $742,000 when they're 27. Now, estimates are for illustration only and are based on an account opening at birth with $1,000 opening deposit and are derived from historical S&P 500 averages. Actual results may differ and are not guaranteed. And then you can also click through here. At 18, you can see what the numbers would look like in estimates. And at 55, you can see what these would look like. And these are the estimates, right? So essentially, you can start your child's retirement account at birth now, right? And the reason I say this is because they're not calling it a retirement account from day one, but at age 18, it can automatically be rolled over into an IRA, a traditional IRA account. So now it becomes a formal retirement account, but it can also be withdrew at 18 and then they can use the money for anything, which makes it very different from the 529 plan. The 529 plan for kids, you can only use that for education, right? So this changes the game for everybody, right? Let's take off our political party hat for a second. This changes the game for everybody. And of course, some people already save money for their kids. This formalizes it and allows you to do it pre-tax. You can have your employer withdraw money from your pay and put it directly into this account pre-tax. This changes everything, right? Because now, of course, when they withdraw this money, they will be taxed then unless it's rolled over into a traditional IRA. And then it's still not taxed, right? It's not taxed until they withdraw it when they're older, right? Let's keep reading. Additional support from these generous companies. Okay, these companies are Michael and Susan Dale are also supposedly giving money. They'll be giving like a one-time deposit to children who live in areas where the median household income is less than $150,000 a year, which is amazing. So a lot of people, like my black people, I need us to really pay attention to this. I plan on signing up for one of these accounts for my kids. I plan on seeing if I'm in an eligible zone for that Michael and Susan Dale sponsorship also. Secondly, I suggest everybody else sign up because guess what? You don't have to it's essentially like having an investment account for your child, right? Like having an index fund for your kid, whatever. All you do is put some money in it. You don't have to touch it or put another dollar in it. It's going to grow over time. Even if it only turns from $100 to $1,500 when they turn 18, at least that's $1,500 your kid can take out to buy themselves a new MacBook before they go to college. At minimum, you can't, if I can find out that somebody can find fault with this, please let me know what it is. I would like to know how this could be a bad thing. I'm reading through it. This account has been made possible through that Trump Big Beautiful plan. But I would like to know if there's anything wrong with this. Please tell me where, and then I'll read more up on what you find. Right. This says this is a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to lift up the next generation, and they'll really be getting a big jump on life. My bad. And then Trump signed this. So you see, Trump is the 45 and 47th president of the United States. That's why the form is called Form 4547. Okay. Let's look at the frequently asked questions. Who is eligible? All U.S. children under 18 with a valid Social Security number are eligible to establish a Trump account. Parents or legal guardians can open and manage accounts on behalf of their children. Now, I see what the branding is about here, right? Trump account. Obamacare was so catchy and such a, like, it just defined Obama's, it really defined the last, like, in terms of politics, it's the catchiest title that anybody has come up with the last 20 years or more. Right. I would say the catchiest thing before that was No Child Left Behind. Right. So Obamacare, he put his name in the act. Right. And it's so catchy. And everybody knows that term. Even if you don't know what it means, everybody in this country and half the Western Hemisphere, maybe half the world has heard the term Obamacare, whether they are eligible for it or not. Right. So Trump is like, I need my thing. He had a whole presidency the first time and nothing he came up with stuck, except for the jokes or the stuff he was saying around COVID. But they didn't have his branding in it. They didn't have his name in it. So he came back and said, you know what? I need to make my mark on the future of the world, the future of this country, like Obamacare, which Obama has been out of office since 2016, and Obamacare is still a thing. Right? So Trump is like, I need my branding to last beyond me. So when I'm out of office, the people who started Trump accounts will always have their Trump account, and that won't go away. So he's just like the Dwight D. Eisenhower highway system, the interstate highway system. Like he realized I need to brand something. So he comes with this Trump account. Okay, let's keep reading. How much can I contribute? Families, friends, and employers can contribute up to $5,000 per year per child. What will the money be invested in? Funds will be invested in a diversified portfolio of low-cost index funds designed to maximize long-term growth while minimizing risk. Okay. When can the funds be used? Funds can be accessed without penalty when the child turns 18 for qualified expenses like education, a first-time purchase, or starting a business. Withdrawals may be subject to restrictions and would be taxed at ordinary income rates. Okay, so they can't use the money for anything, and I think I previously said that, but they can use it for more than just education. They can use it for things that it's qualified for. Education, first-time home purchase, starting a business, and there's probably a list of things they could use it for, but we'll see more when more comes out. Okay. How do I open an account? You can elect to open Trump accounts for your eligible children using the newly created IRS Form 4547. You can do this when you file your taxes or through an online portal that will be available summer 2026. Continue to check trumpaccounts.gov for the latest information. Okay, let's see, for kids. So that first part was for the parents who are starting these. For the kids, when can I use my Trump account? You can access your Trump account once you turn 18. Withdrawals for eligible. Okay, we read that. How can I see how much is in my Trump account? Yes, your parent or guardian can help you log in to view your account balance, see contributions, and track savings growth over time. Okay, what happens to my account when I turn 18? When you turn 18, the account will transfer to your control. You have full access to manage and use your funds for future goals. Can I contribute to my own account? Once you start earning income, you can make contributions to your own account. This is a great way to develop good savings habits early in life. Okay. I'll just keep going just in case there's a corporation that might be watching this somehow. How can corporations participate? Employers can choose to contribute to the Trump accounts for their workers or their workers' children, supporting early savings and financial readiness. Employers may choose to offer employees a salary reduction program under a cafeteria plan so that employees can make pre-tax contributions to Trump accounts. Are corporate contributions tax deductible? Yes, corporations can contribute up to $2,500 to Trump accounts on behalf of their employees' children. All contributions are tax deductible. Can philanthropists make donations? Yes, nonprofit organizations and local governments can contribute to Trump accounts of all children in a state or qualified geographic area. Okay. That's interesting. Of all children in a state, that sounds to me like, because Trump is against the whole choosing people based on race, ethnicity, all that type of stuff. So they're like, we're gonna make this a flat thing. Give it to everybody or give it to nobody. Pretty much, that's what it sounds like they're saying right there. Okay, one thing I want to show y'all real quick before I get off of this topic. There is a link on this site that says you could pretty much fill out this form and get started or whatever. Let me find it. All right, it says get started, right? Get started here. And this looks like IRS form 4547. And it looks like there's a form here. And it's like, oh, first name, middle name, last name, social security, date of birth. And then you put your contact info, all this good stuff right here. You put your child's information in here, social, all this. I just want to let you know here, I wouldn't do it this way. Now, maybe more information will come out and it'll be like, okay, this is a valid way to input this information. But this to me looks like a regular web form, right? This looks like a regular web form to me. Let me see if I get out of this. See, when I get out of that box right there, it stays like this social security number stays in number form. I wouldn't fill this out. Now, I would wait for, let me see if the form is available just off irs.gov. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so that form is available on irs.gov. I would fill it out on here. I would not fill it out on this website. This website doesn't look like it has proper data security stuff going on. Y'all know I work in that world. I wouldn't fill this thing out. This looks good and it looks easy and simple and all that, and this looks a little crazier, but this is what a normal government form looks like. This is what it's supposed to look like. Okay, you would download this, a copy of this, write things in, and then upload it to whoever you need to upload it to, or mail it off to who you need to mail it off to. I wouldn't play around with this. This is serious stuff. Your kid's business is here. This is nothing to play with. I wouldn't play like that. So you don't want to fill out. This is now, even though this does say this is a .gov website here, Trump sometimes they put stuff in place. They don't really know what they're doing for real, right? There's no way if I type a social security number in here in 2026 and I click away, that this should all still be in text. This is plain text. This is what we in software development and data call plain text. Okay. This shouldn't look like this. This should be when it should be when you type a password and it immediately turns into a little circle. That's what should happen right here when you type your social security number on here. Right. So they need to fix that before you ever think about, if you come to this page and you want to try to fill this out for your child to get an account, go straight to that social security block, type a bunch of ones in there, and then go to another block. If it stays in all ones, or if it's still, can you still read it? Then don't put your information in there. Okay. Go and locate go to Google and Google IRS form 4547 and fill it out like that. All right. And then find the instructions to tell you how to return that form. That's what you do. Do not do this. All right. Well, I can't tell y'all what to do, but I'm suggesting that you don't do it as a person that works in the world of development, software development, web development, all this type of stuff, and work in database administration. I work in database management, data engineering, all that. Don't fill that form out. Okay. Not to say that they don't already have your information, but we don't know if a third party company is running this site for them, right? A contractor could be running this site for them. This website looks very different from every other government website out there, right? So clearly somebody else built this. This is not one of their normal government websites. So I think, and actually at the bottom of it, it does, matter of fact, it tells you who built this site. It says it, National Design Studio. Oh, you can't see it on there. But National Design Studio built this, okay? And they even have their, right? All right, so these are the people who built this, okay, by executive order. So I guess Trump has put together his own team of developers. Whoever they are good. They're very good with UI, UX, but they're a little bit newbies when it comes to this data security stuff, okay? So I ain't even mean to go down that rabbit hole just now. But shout out to y'all. If y'all think this is a good idea, if you think it's a bad idea, I'm more interested in learning what could go wrong with something like this. To me, it looks like a standard government-sponsored account that will allow you to invest tax deferred, not tax free, but tax deferred. I don't see how we could find fault in it, but I'm open to learning. A lot has gone on in what some people have called the Diaspora Wars this week. Okay? If y'all don't mind. I have to talk about this. I'm sorry.
Happy Black History Month to everyone except the foundational Black Americans. I hate you niggas. I hate you niggas. Let's die. Ooh. If I could gather all of you in one place with a strap to my chest, you know what time it is. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna blow up the spot. More like me. I'm doing society a favor. But yeah, everybody else, happy Black History Month.
Is everybody okay? Who? Happy Black History Month to everybody except the only people Black History Month applies to. She okay? Now, she put this video on TikTok, right? She said, I want to gather all of these people up, right? Foundational Black Americans. And I want to put them in a room and I want to strap a bomb to my chest and I want to blow it up. Y'all know what time it is. That's what she said. She said that. Terroristic threat. Just said it, right? She said TikTok took the video down. She did another video explaining. I don't know if she was trying to clarify what she meant or whatever, but she did another video explaining herself, right? And her explanation wasn't like an apology. It was her saying, I was talking about the xenophobic ones, right? I was talking about the ones that are xenophobic, the ones who make their whole personality xenophobia. But she kept saying, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. There's two things, right? And I know it's a lot of annoying for a lot of people, right? There's like foundational Black American as a term, how the term is described essentially means the same when we say Black Americans. But the reason Tariq Nasheed added foundational to it is because we were foundational to the creation of this country. And we want to make distinction between people who call themselves Black American but come from somewhere else but have been here for maybe, let's say, 2 generations versus the people who were here when the Constitution was written, right? So they added foundational in front of it, right? So you have foundational Black Americans as a term and how it applies to Black Americans who have been here since before the Civil War. And then you have foundational Black Americans like Tariq Nasheed and his followers on Twitter, right? It describes the same group of people, but the smaller subset of people, the ones that follow Tariq Nasheed, sometimes some of them engage in rhetoric that offends these people of the diaspora, right? That's a very, 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 very small minority of people. So every time y'all get mad at one of those very, very, very small minority of people, why don't y'all just tag those people and say, look what this person said to me. Look what these 5 people said to me. They called me this. They said this about my homeland. They said this about Africans. They said this about West Africans. They said this about Brazilians. Why don't y'all tag those people and make the statements that you are making about those people that said that. How come every time y'all have a problem with the tiniest small subset of people, y'all say some wild stuff about the entire group? And then when people get on your ass, then you try to backtrack like, no, I didn't mean all of y'all. I just meant that. Well, why didn't you tag the people you meant? It's not that many. I mean, I'm going to be real. I've been in this world, in this space of pro-black conscious, Black American, Pan-African consciousness globally, whatever. I've been in this space for over a decade, right? It's very easy to point out the people that are saying the stuff that y'all have a problem with. It's very easy to do. The reason you're not doing it is because you don't have a problem with just those people. You're using whatever you saw that one person say, and you're using it to spew some hate that you have for the group in general. Right? That's what's going on here. And I have another, and I'm going to show you proof of that, right? I have another video here, and I've been trying to tell people this for a long time. Back when I first got into this space of Black empowerment, this was probably like 2012, 2013, and I started getting cool with people online in Ghana, right? And these people were not Ghanaians living in America. They were Ghanaians in Ghana still, never been to America, right? So when they would teach me about their culture, we talk on WhatsApp. They would teach me about their culture. I would tell them about our culture, and we would discuss similarities and we would discuss differences. That's when I first learned about the term Akata. Specifically, it was one girl. Her name was Arama. She told me about the term Akata. That's not something that we use in America. That's not an American term. I knew about the term from 2013 from the Ghanaian girl telling me, hey, over here, we call y'all Akata. When I say, what does Akata mean? She said it pretty much means lost or stray cat. That's like the direct translation of it. It means wild cat or stray cat or lost cat, right? And she said that their elders call us that because it pretty much means we don't know where we're from. We're like lost, we're stray, we act crazy, we act wild, and we don't know where we come from, right? We don't know our roots, our history. So they use that term to describe us. The elders in West Africa, different ones, maybe like Nigerians and Ghanaians, right? That's what she told me. She also told me that when they start learning about the Western Hemisphere and when they start learning English when they're in their country, part of their English lessons is to learn bad things about us, Black Americans. This is what she told me. She told me that they learned that Black people are thugs, Black Americans are thugs, that we disrespect our parents, that we're ignorant, that we don't want to work. She said that's part of their curriculum over there. That's what she told me. I'm not telling y'all true or not. I'm telling you a Ghanaian told me that part of their learning system over there when they start learning English is to learn about Black Americans and our ignorance, quote unquote. That's what she said, right? She's from Ghana. I got a video right now from a lady. Watch this. I have a video of a lady from Nigeria. This lady I'm about to show you, she doesn't know the girl who I was talking to. They don't know each other. They're from two different countries. They never talked to each other before. She's about to tell you the same thing. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Where we at? Where's window capture at here? Mm-hmm. Okay, there you go. Okay. Let's look. I got this off of TikTok, right? Let's listen to what she said. Now, this lady right here is from Nigeria. She does not know Arama that I was talking to in Ghana in 2013. They don't know each other at all. Listen to what she's saying.
I love how everybody's mad about Shabuzi, but you guys all attack Miss Georgie when she tells you all the time that African kids, we're from the same place. Me and Shabuzi come from the same village. Igbo babes, Igbo people. African kids, I grew up with African parents who raised me under racist ideologies for Black Americans. When I talk about it, you guys say I'm pandering to Black Americans. I was raised to believe that we Africans were better than Black Americans. We work harder. Black Americans are lazy. Black Americans are just all vagabonds. The akata. When I tell these truths, you guys try to silence me because you want me to fall into line and lie because it sounds good. I don't know how to do that. I'm always going to speak the truth. Immigrants come to this country and think they're better than the motherfuckers who sacrificed to build. You get what I'm saying? Immigrants come here leaving their country that is so fucked up to talk shit about the motherfuckers that are here, that shed blood to make it possible. I broke the spell of ignorance as an African to learn about Black Americans and what they actually went through. A lot of Africans don't do that. They feel entitled. So I'm gonna just go back to my music, because whenever I talk, I get in trouble. Y'all call me racist.
Okay. All right. Did y'all hear what she said? Y'all heard what she said. She said their parents teach them to do this, right? Their parents teach them anti-Black Americanness. And she said she took it upon herself to go learn on her own the truth, right? And shout out to her for doing that. Now, one thing you're going to notice, a lot of the people that have this type of hate for us Black Americans, what they want to reference a lot of times is the jokes that Black Americans made on them when they were kids, right? They like to bring up, yo, y'all used to say African booty scratcher. So when I tell you, I hope a police officer shoot you, you should have never called me a African booty scratcher. Okay, they're talking about what we might have done when we was 10 years old, 5, 10, 6, 7 years old. First of all, most of us growing up didn't go to school or live around Africans. Most of us growing up didn't go to school with or live around Africans. We never called y'all African booty scratchers. We were calling each other African booty scratchers. We just got to be real about this. Let me say this one more time. Most of us didn't grow up around Africans or go to school with Africans. We didn't. Most of us went to school either at all Black schools or Black and white schools. A lot of Latino people started coming in our schools a little bit later. When I was going to school in my city in the Midwest, it was Black and white. If I didn't go to a Black and white school, it was either a all Black school or I went to a predominantly white school. There's only a few cities like DC, in the DC area, they had Africans for a long time, right? Certain parts of New York had Africans for a long time. But for the most part, we didn't go to school with y'all. So if y'all probably didn't even hear us call nobody no damn African booty scratcher, first of all. But secondly, because you watched some TV show or a movie and you heard them say it on there, and now you're trying to project that across everybody. If we said it, for the most part, we were talking to each other, calling each other African booty scratchers. And in most of the time we was playing. We're talking about small children. When you got to high school, if you were here when you were in high school, but when you got to high school, nobody was calling you that anymore. If they ever called you that, but if they called you that, they weren't calling you that by high school, probably not even in middle school, right? Again, most of us didn't go to school. Chicago is also another place where there's a lot of Africans too, Texas. So you got certain pockets of the country that had Africans. The rest of us didn't have them like that, right? We learned this a while ago that the explosion of African immigrants happened in the year 2000, right? And we say explosion, it still was far less than like Mexicans, right? So Nigerian population in this country didn't explode until after the year 2000. And most of that was into New York City, right? Into New York City, into Washington, D.C. area. It started sprinkling in Atlanta, Texas, Chicago, those places. Okay. It wasn't even everywhere. And then even in the places that it was in small pockets. It wasn't even that big of a population. But anyway, so the stuff that y'all learned in your home country and in your household from your parents teaching us, that didn't come from you hearing us call somebody African booty scratchers. That's not where that came from. That came from y'all being indoctrinated by white missionaries. Let's just keep it real. I know where it comes from, so I'm not even really blaming y'all. I know where it comes from. That's the reason why these people make it their business to go over into those African countries and get to y'all before we get to y'all. Right? They have made it for the last 150 years Like after they got established in this land over here, I would say 100 years. They started to make it their business to go do missionary work that didn't involve them just mass hurting y'all, right? So when they started doing this missionary work with their churches, they made it their point to teach y'all stuff about us that was a lie before we got a chance to teach y'all about us. So then for generation and generation and generation, these West Africans have been teaching and passing it down to each other. Stay away from Akata. Don't be like Akata. They're thugs. They're violent. They're ignorant. Don't be like them. They don't want to work. They're lazy. When you go to America, you're going to work hard. You're not going to be anything like them. Whole time, every time y'all get here, everywhere y'all go, y'all see us striving. But you still remember what you saw on TV. And you say, I know I see these black people doing good when I get here. But the ones on TV, that's the real black Americans. Those are the real ones. Love and Hip Hop, that's the real black. That's how black women really act. Love and Hip Hop. Boys in the Hood, that's how black men really act. These black men that I work with, they're different. You tricked yourself into believing that the ones that you're around every day, those are the good ones, and they're different. And everybody else is like old dog from Minister Society. That's how you have let your mind be conditioned to believe about us. And it's because of those missionaries that came over there and indoctrinated y'all for the last however many decades. Okay. In the 1990s, black Americans in America boycotted American companies to end apartheid. That was the 90s. That was my lifetime. Right? There is no place in America or in American history where black Americans teach their children to hate or degrade black Africans. That has never been a thing here. We never did that. Kids that come up with jokes, that's what we do in black America. We roast people. We laugh, talk, joke. That's what we do here. It's called the dozens a long time ago, but we call it roasting, baking, cooking, whatever Jones and some people call it. That's what we do here. Right? That's how we play. We have fun like that. That's us having fun. Right? And it's most of the time, it stops sometime during childhood. We don't keep on making jokes about you because of your skin color, you know what I'm saying? Or because of how dark you are, or because of how, whatever. That stops normally somewhere in middle school, high school, stops somewhere in there. Right? Then you might see comedians do it. But for the most part, that stops. Okay? It's never hateful. And it's never violent toward y'all. Okay? There's no part of American history, American black history, black American history, where our parents teach us to stay away from y'all, to hate y'all, anything remotely close to that. All right. So this diaspora war feels extremely one-sided. Y'all are looking at what a few of Tariq Nasheed's followers have said, and you are projecting that across the entire black American universe. What are we talking about? Y'all got to stop. And again, even when we have videos of people talking about strapping bombs to their chest and coming to get, we still don't have we don't have that type of energy for y'all back. We don't have anything to return. You talk like that because you think you're white. That's what it really is. You say you love black people, but then your threat to black Americans is to do something that white people would do. Right? Put us all in one place, strap a bomb to your chest. That's not, if you love black people, you wouldn't say nothing like that. You say, look, we don't have that type of energy for y'all, man. You can't say Happy Black History Month to everybody except the people Black History Month was invented for. Okay? It's don't work like that. The diaspora war is not a war. Is one group barking at the moon and the other group in the moon sometimes shedding some light on that dog. Okay? That's what it is. That's all it is. Okay? That's all that is. Where we at with it? 50 minutes? All right. I have more Black American topic to get into. I saw a post on Instagram, right? And I thought it was a funny post. So pretty much what the post said was, the post, y'all ever heard that song? That nigga putting his hands on me. You ever seen that? Right? So it's a skit. Let me just show y'all.
Meanwhile, this nigga putting his hands on me.
Y'all see what's going on here? So it says year 1965. You're a teen who wants to go march in Selma, but your father says no, and you call him an Uncle Tom, right? So so then I'm going through the comments because to me that's a funny one, right? He gets knocked across the floor by his dad because he called his dad Uncle Tom, right? So then this comment right here is what sparked it for me. It said, please learn y'all history with phrases too, people. It's Sambo. If y'all gonna take pride in being black for only a month, then be correctly black. And I thought that was interesting because you do see people sometimes try to correct people when they say Uncle Tom, and they say the term you're looking for is Sambo. But Sambo and Uncle Tom are not being confused for each other, right? Sambo and Uncle Tom are very different things. Sambo is more like that buck-eyed dancing, putting on a show for white people to entertain white people, to be like overly stereotypically what white people thought of black people. That's what a Sambo is. Uncle Tom is more like that docile figure that wants to placate and acquiesce to white desires, right? So they're two different things. So when this person calls their dad an Uncle Tom, that's the correct context. That's correctly used, okay? So this person and I'm not even mad at this person who said this thing about using the terms correctly, because a lot of people miscorrect or misuse the term Sambo versus. Now he's trying to tell people they're misusing it when they're not misusing it. Now I want to read a little bit about Sambo versus Uncle Tom because I want to put it to bed. Hopefully put it to bed for y'all and anybody else who wants to watch this or read this. I just think it's interesting. Okay, this is on blackamericaweb.com. All right, they got a bunch of ads. Hold on. The differences between Sambo versus Uncle Tom explained. Uncle Tom's Cabin was a famous book in the 1800s by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Okay. In the context of American history and literature, the characters Sambo and Uncle Tom have been emblematic of specific racial stereotypes rooted in the era of slavery. Understanding the nuances between these two figures is crucial for historians, social justice advocates, and students, as it sheds light on the racial dynamics and cultural narratives that have shaped American society. Slavery in America. So now this is framed like it's long, but it's not that long, so I'm just going to read the whole thing, all right? Give me a second. Slavery in the United States, primarily between the 17th and 19th centuries, formed the backdrop against which both characters emerged. Enslaved Africans were subjected to brutal conditions and dehumanizing treatment, which had long-lasting effects on African American identity and cultural representation. Published in 1852 by Harriet Beecher Stowe, Uncle Tom's Cabin was a powerful anti-slavery novel that humanized the plight of enslaved people and galvanized the abolitionist movement. Uncle Tom, the protagonist, became a symbol of the subservient, loyal slave, a trope that has been both criticized and lauded over the years. Okay. The term Sambo refers to a caricature that portrays black people as lazy, docile, and inherently inferior. This stereotype was perpetuated through minstrel shows and various forms of media, reinforcing the notion that African Americans were unfit for freedom and deserved their subjugated status. Sambo's character was often used to justify the institution of slavery by depicting enslaved people as content and well-suited to servitude. Uncle Tom. Contrary to Sambo, Uncle Tom is depicted as a pious, loyal, and submissive enslaved man. While Stowe's novel intended to elicit empathy and support for the abolitionist cause, over time, Uncle Tom has become a pejorative term within the African American community. It describes someone who betrays their race by overly acquiescing to white authority. Unlike Sambo, Uncle Tom's portrayal was initially sympathetic but has since taken on negative connotations due to the perceived passivity. Sambo's image has caused significant cultural damage by perpetuating harmful stereotypes that affect societal perceptions of black people. This caricature reinforced racist ideologies that justify segregation and discrimination well into the 20th century. Its impact is seen in various forms of media, children's book, and even toys, solidifying its harmful legacy. Uncle Tom's character has has had a complex cultural impact. Initially, he was seen as a martyr-like figure who elicited empathy and support for the abolitionist cause. However, the term Uncle Tom has evolved into an insult that criticizes black people perceived as overly subservient or complicit with oppressive systems. Despite Stowe's intention, the character has been co-opted to reflect intra-racial tensions regarding loyalty and resistance. In conclusion, understanding the differences between Sambo and Uncle Tom is essential for comprehensively exploring the racial dynamics of American history. While both characters originated within the context of slavery, they serve distinct roles in perpetuating and challenging racial stereotypes. Sambo enforces a harmful stereotype that justifies racial oppression, whereas Uncle Tom, though intended as a sympathetic figure, has become a controversial symbol of subservience. For historians, social justice advocates, and students, scrutinizing these characters provides critical insight. Okay. All right. I just got through. All right. So I hope y'all really picked up what I put down right there. So Uncle Tom, now I do think it's interesting how they say Uncle Tom has morphed its meaning over time when really it never did. Uncle Tom's Cabin. All right. So this is two things. First of all, Sambo and Uncle Tom are both images of slaves as seen by white people. Okay. So they're both negative to us because they are not our image of ourselves. Neither of them are. Right. Even though, quote unquote, Harriet Stowe, she decided to make Uncle Tom a nice guy, pious, loyal, and all this type of stuff. And he's good and helped get white abolitionists on her side. He still wasn't the image that we wanted of ourselves. So that was always an insulting type of character, because what she essentially did was say, let me, quote unquote, humanize this man by showing that he's a good, loyal slave. He's a good, pious slave. He loves his God. He loves his Jesus. He deserves to be treated fairly as a slave or not be a slave at all because he's a human. But your way of portraying him and his humanity is to show him as being subservient and submissive and acquiescing to white people. Neither of them are how we want to see ourselves. So Uncle Tom has always been seen as a bad thing to black people. You know why? Because Uncle Tom is based on a real person. Uncle Tom is based on a man named Josiah Henson. I'm about to show y'all his book because I read this book and I came across it years ago and it's on Amazon. I'm going to show it to you. Hold on. Okay. Truth Stranger Than Fiction. Father Henson's story of his own life. Uncle Tom's Cabin is based on this man, right? Now this, if you have to, please read this book. This is a must read for black people because this is going to take us to our debate of the week. It's cheap. It's only $10 and it's a short book too. It's only 56 pages. It was originally published. It was originally published in like the 18. Hold on. Let me see. Originally, he wrote his story. Hold on. 1858. He wrote his own story in 1858, right? Now, why is Uncle Tom's Cabin based on this man who's largely considered a great figure and an abolitionist that led a lot of people to freedom? Why? Let me tell you why. If you read this book, you will see. Josiah Henson, before he became this person that led a lot of people to freedom in Canada, because what he started doing is he broke away. He got the freedom, right? When he got the freedom, he came back and forth from the South and was running a bunch of black people back and forth to Canada, right? He wasn't stopping. He was going straight to Canada, right? He set up a colony up there of free black people. They started industries up there. It got good for them, right? Shout out to him. He ended his life a lot better than he started. Now, the reason Uncle Tom's Cabin was based on him is because he was that type of slave before he ended up breaking free. I'm going to tell you what type of slave he was. He was the type of slave that if he found out that there was a revolt about to happen, he would talk y'all out of doing it. He was the type of slave that if he found out that y'all were about to escape, he would talk y'all out of escaping and saying, no, don't escape. You're going to get yourself killed. Everybody's going to get killed. We don't want that. Y'all going to make it hard for us on the plantation when y'all leave. Because it wasn't even a question for him. He wasn't going nowhere. So y'all gonna make it hard for the people that stay, don't leave, and he might even tell on you if you try to leave, right? That's how he was. It got so bad. He was so bad, right? As an Uncle Tom, and literally that's why the book is based on him, and literally this is why this has always been a negative thing to us as Black Americans. This is what he did. The person that owned him and his family died or was sick and was about to die, and pretty much gifted him and his family to his brother in like Kentucky. He was in Maryland. He was gifted to a brother, a white man in Kentucky. So it was on him. This is how bad he was. It was on him to take the slaves and walk them to Kentucky from Maryland. They had to walk to Kentucky, right? He was such an Uncle Tom, like how we know what an Uncle Tom is. White people didn't even worry if he would escape or not. They knew he wouldn't escape. They sent him with a pack of Negroes, slaves at this time, walked to him Kentucky. Ohio was a free state at this time when he did this. All right, so Cincinnati is on the border of Kentucky and Ohio. It's right on the border. So you got Cincinnati, then right across the bridge, right across the road is Kentucky, right? Part of his journey getting to where he had to go in Kentucky, he had to walk through Ohio. He walked through Cincinnati. It was free. They could have left. They could have got in Ohio and they would have been straight. No slave catchers was looking for them or nothing. They would have been straight. They could have went to Ohio, lived a free life. He took these group of slaves through Ohio. They said, bro, can we please like go to freedom? We're here. It's Ohio. Like we're here in a free state. He said, no, we can't stay here. I gave him my word. I would get y'all to Kentucky. I would get y'all to Brother Joseph, whatever his name was, Master Joseph. I would get y'all to Master Joseph. I got to get y'all to Master Joseph. They are literally in Ohio. Freedom. He took them back to Kentucky. I mean, he took them back down into a slave state, Kentucky, from in Ohio because it was just on the journey. This is how bad he was. Uncle Tom is accurately used as a negative term by Black people. I don't know how these people heard that term and thought, oh, this is like a good thing for Black people. Why do y'all use it like negatively? This is who Uncle Tom was. Uncle Tom took Black slaves through Ohio, which was free, and brought them back to Kentucky, to another plantation. From there, he was older. He was an older man at this point. From there, he realized, oh, that wasn't cool. Like what I've been doing for the last however many years was crazy. And he escaped. Now, he escaped pretty much on his own. Once he got to where he went to, he established some things. Then he started coming back for people. But he wasn't able to get everybody he took through Ohio or whatever like that, right? He just came and got whoever he could get, which is cool. He was able to, I guess you want to call it, redeem himself. However, I'm just pointing out to y'all how bad it was. When it was bad for him, when he was at his worst as a slave, he was horrible. I'm talking about, I gotta repeat this because it's like, I don't know if people are hearing, if you're hearing what I'm saying. He was such an Uncle Tom type of person. That's why the character is based on him. He was such that white people didn't use a white escort to send slaves from state to state to state to state. They used him to escort other slaves from state to state to state to state, knowing that they had to walk through a free state to get back to a slave state. That's how bad he was. Right? They don't make a term for somebody like that. They had to make up a new one. Uncle Tom. And even the story of Uncle Tom don't even get into that part of his story. So Uncle Tom ain't even as bad as the real person was. Right? So they don't even have a term for that. Coon is not the right term for that. Traitor is not the right term. There's another thing for that. For whatever he was, it's a whole different thing. Okay? They was begging him, yo, we're in Ohio. We're free now. He was like, no, come on. Now, by the way, he didn't hide this. He wrote that in his own story. I didn't get this from some other text about him. He put that in his own book. If you read his book about himself, he told us, this is what I was doing. This is how bad I was. That's why I spent the rest of my life freeing my people, because how horrible I was to my people. You got to read Truth, Stranger Than Fiction by Josiah Henson, man. If you want to really see why Uncle Tom is an accurate term for people. Like, Uncle Tom pretty much means how we use the word coon. Uncle Tom is the correct term, right? Sambo would be like how finesse 2 times act. And I don't mean to use anybody that's modern as a term like that, but this is kind of what it is, right? When you see how he, like, just stereotypically, whatever the stereotype is, that's what a Sambo is, right? Uncle Tom is more like a Stephen A type of guy, right? And I know Stephen A get offended when people say stuff like that, and that's like we have to be accurate in the way we use our terms. It's not to say it's a bad or a good term. That is just what the term describes. The term Uncle Tom describes the things that we've heard and seen Stephen A do. It doesn't mean he doesn't like black people. Josiah Henson liked black people. He loved black people. He loved his people. He thought what he was doing was correct, though. Onlookers and observers can see that wasn't right. But it is what it is. That's what the term describes, right? So it's not a bad thing at Stephen A. Smith. It's not intended to be an insult, but what he does can be described as what Uncle Tom kind of was. Now, it was not as insidious as what the real Uncle Tom was doing, Josiah P. Henson. I call him P. Henson. Josiah Henson, right? The real one. I keep repeating myself because I need everybody to know how baffled I was when I read this story, right? By the way, it's called Truth, Stranger Than Fiction because you wouldn't even believe. He's telling you right from the beginning. In 1858, he's telling y'all won't even believe what I used to be on. Y'all won't even believe how I used to get down, right? He's letting you know from 1858, I was no good. So my debate of the week is, let me read exactly what I wrote. Debate of the week. What does a person that is like an Uncle Tom, what does an Uncle Tom have to do to be forgiven for the Uncle Tom ways that they have had, their behavior, right? What's a good balance for that, right? So if we talk about Josiah Henson, he felt like he made it right. Okay, I made all of my Uncle Tom ways right by getting a bunch of black people to freedom. And it wasn't the type of freedom where like slave catchers was patrolling. You might have to hide in Ohio because a slave catcher could come and take you. They were in Canada. There were no slave catchers up there. They lived a completely safe and prosperous life when he got them up to Canada, right? So many, many, many people feel he has made up for the wrongs that he's committed against black people, right? And I don't disagree. But I want to know, most people haven't gotten a bunch of people to freedom, though. So if you just observe somebody that you would consider an Uncle Tom, what can they do to make it right? Right? A lot of people had hate for Ben Carson. I didn't. Ben Carson worked with Trump at a time when it was highly polarizing for a black person to do that. What could he do to get back in the good graces of his people? Right? People call Charles Barkley a coon. What can Charles Barkley do to get back in the good graces of his people? Right? Let's say you got a person like that's considered like a murderer. Let's say somebody like Wayne Perry. I would say King Von, but because he passed away, I'm not going to use him as an example. Let's say somebody like Wayne Perry, who was essentially like a serial killer, killed a bunch of people, right? Bunch of black people. What could and that's a coon too. What could somebody like Wayne Perry do to make up for what he did to black people, right? What can they do? That's the debate of the week. All right. I have another topic, but I don't even know if I want to get into it. It's kind of, now the stuff that I talked about already was pretty serious. This is like kind of dark. I'm not going to talk about it. All right, y'all go enjoy y'all weekend. Y'all have a good weekend, please. I appreciate the support always. Please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you comment your thoughts below. If you have time, please do the survey down in the description. It's getting warmer now. Shout out to everybody still dealing with the snow. I grew up loving the snow, but I know right now it's real brutal right now, especially for our homeless people out. You know what I'm saying? It's not cool. But y'all have a good weekend. I'm going to see y'all next week. Peace out.